Well, that's your exercise for the afternoon. Wonderful. Susan, would you slide around just a little to your right, please?
I was leaving room for someone who hasn't arrived yet. But that's okay.
Okay. Billy, do you want to introduce me in some way?
I do.
Please do.
This was a plan.
Hello. Here you go, Billy. Billy.
That one is okay. Joe, pull up a chair. Okay. Join the circle, please. And here comes Betsy.
Bravo.
We can't hear you unless you talk into the mic.
Yes.
You can make the circle bigger.
We're making it bigger.
Trying to get through
You. All right.
Yes, yeah, I think we do get started. It's not coming to me, but it's after 2 o'clock, and I welcome everyone to the Tree of Faith presentation given by the Head of Faith Committee, and this is our presentation for the month of July. Today we are doing a bibliodrama. And Peter, didn't ask him, is it?
It's
right
pronounced Pitzley.
Pitzley, all right.
No one has ever pronounced it correctly on the first time.
That was Philip. That's why I was going to ask you beforehand.
No, it's
saying that. Okay.
How do you spell it?
Pardon? P is in Peter.
P-I.
P is in Peter. I. T is in Thomas. Z is in zebra. E-L-E. Pitzla.
Okay, very good. And you.
Or pizza.
You are a psychologist, is that right?
No, I'm just a mental case.
Oh. And he does live here in New Paltz. His wife is with him today, Susan. And let's see if there's anything else I want to say. Just that today we are exploring again, as we do with our Tree of Faith programs. Today we're exploring Bibliodrama, which is just another way of seeking information from different ways that believers honor God in the Bible. This is very new to me. I have not seen it before. I think some here at Woodland Pond have seen or been part of. Yes.
Anybody?
Anybody? Show any hands? Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm delighted that you're all
Willing.
willing. Yes, that was the word.
Yes. Yes.
That's the word, willing. Well, you don't have to be willing. You're just here. You don't have to participate. You can just see what's up.
So, without any further ado, I will turn the working microphone over to Peter so that he also can be heard clearly by everyone in attendance.
So before I use the microphone, but wait, before I use the microphone, do you have a problem hearing me?
No.
No.
Who does have a problem?
A little bit.
You might? Okay,
And this one.
okay, all right.
I've got
To me, it's
better than the mic was.
I would prefer,
Try it.
I would prefer not to use the microphone because I like to have my hands free and I'm going to be on my feet and I can move towards you. So I wanted to pause before I begin to say that you have in common the tree of faith. This is the organization to which each of you is chosen to belong, coming presumably from other traditions, but finding the tree of faith has enough branches to accommodate differences. Am I right in understanding that?
Yes.
So, you
Our
know,
group is the interfaith committee that organized this, but it's, the program was the Tree of Faith program.
I see. So, here comes a.
Oh,
We can slip her right in here. Would you like to sit on that or on that? This? Very good. So, what I'm bringing you today is certainly something that belongs to the tree of faith, the Bible. And I think that there are probably folks in this room who grew up with the Bible in their homes. Did you grow up with a Bible in your home? There you go. Did you grow up going to regular services? All right. So I learned about the Bible later in my life. I was not raised with the Bible. I was not raised in a faith tradition. I was born to parents who were Jewish, but they were Jews of a particular type that really wanted to be part of an assimilated world. They weren't interested in being identified or identifying themselves as Jews. They were not uncommon in that generation, moving from the Midwest to the East, having jobs as professionals. They didn't want the old world traveling with them. So I was their son, their only son. And I grew up in a very educated, assimilated world. But at a certain point in my life, I came to understand. I was a teacher of literature. I taught poetry and novels, plays. And at a certain point in my life, I realized that just about every great writer had learned the Bible as a young man or young woman. It was once upon a time a foundation book. It was. Everybody had the Bible in common, or so many people did. Even Jewish people had their scripture. So I became increasingly interested in the way the Jewish people studied the Bible. I think I understood something about how Christian traditions studied it, because I had been exposed much more to Christians than to Jews when I was growing up. And what I learned was that there is an understanding of the Bible by the Jewish people where they're not so much interested in the meaning of anything that's happening in the Bible, but they're interested in different ways of seeing the same thing. The Jewish people aren't interested in establishing one interpretation that everybody agrees with, but rather a respect for the text, words on the page, but many ways of thinking about them. Many ways. In fact, the more, the better. Because once upon a time, the Jewish people were cast away from their roots. They didn't have a temple, they didn't have a priesthood, they didn't have their tradition. It was destroyed very early on. And they became known as the people of the book. The book was their container. and they wanted it to be as rich and as reflective of their experience as possible. The people of the book wanted their stories to be open to every generation to interpret it differently. This is all by way of saying that the way I'm going to bring the Bible to you today is the Bible with no right answers. Now that's something to think about. And I'm gonna try to share that with you, the Bible with no answers, no right answers, or the Bible with many answers, looking at a story together. A story I think all of you know, the story of the Garden of Eden. Good afternoon, sir.
Sorry, I'm late, sir.
No, would you like to squeeze in, or you are? We'd love to have you squeeze in.
I'm fine, thank you.
All right. So, how many of you have heard of the Garden of Eden? You're here.
Garden of
And,
Eden.
So, I
You
want
have.
to introduce you to the Garden of Eden story. What did I do with my Bible, Susan?
Your water's
There it
there.
is. So here's the way I want to drop in at this place. So Adam has been created. Adam finds that he's alone. He says, God, you created all these animals. I've given them names, but there's no one here like me. And God says to Adam, it's not good for you to be alone. So God creates out of Adam a partner, Eve. And Adam and Eve live together in the garden. And Adam has been told by God, you can eat anything you want in the garden. It's all for you. But what?
No forbidden fruit.
There is one tree in the garden. One tree in the garden you shouldn't eat. If you do something, the word, God says, you will surely die. Well, what do Adam and Eve know for die? But they know that it's prohibited. No. So, now we come to immediately, the first thing that happens after that. I mean, immediately. Now the serpent was the shrewdest of all the wild beasts that the Lord God had made. Okay. God made the serpent's in the garden. All right? And he said to the woman, so, let's start there. The picture I have, do you know where the tree is, by the way, in the garden? It's right in the middle. The tree, not of faith, the tree of life, the tree of knowledge, of good, of evil. Right? There it is. There it is, the tree. Right in the middle. And God says, look at all the wonderful things I've made for you. Apples, oranges, peaches, and pears. Plenty to eat. Plenty to enjoy. Just don't go here. So one day, we find, you can think about it, this is kind of like a movie. Like, there's the tree, there's the garden, there they are off there. But one day, we see that Eve is standing here at the tree. Right? I mean, there she is. So the Bible doesn't say anything about why she's here. In fact, it's a little puzzling why she's here, because she knows full well that she's not supposed to get near it and touch it and eat it. But here she is. So the Bible has this question that it's inside the story. Like, what are you doing here at the tree? So imagine that there's no right answer to this question. Why is Eve here? So I'm going to ask Eve. Eve, I'm going to be like Geraldo Rivera, The interviewer.
Eve, could you tell us what you're doing here at the tree? Why are you here?
Just looking.
Just looking, she says. Eve, why are you here?
I'm interested.
I'm not only looking, I'm interested. Thank you. Eve, why are you here? I'm not. I just may look here, but I'm invisible. You don't see me. Thank you. Eve, why are you here?
Adam's sleeping as usual, and I'm bored silly.
Adam is sleeping as usual, and I'm bored. Well, I mean, we can imagine such an Adam. Perhaps he's had his meal of the day, and he's having his nap, and Eve is wandering around feeling a little bit like, well, there's got to be more than the garden than this. I'm interested. I'm curious. And for whatever reason, and there could be more reasons, she's standing here at the tree. And there is this creature, this created thing, the creature called the serpent. And the serpent says to her, right out of the blue, did God really say you shall not eat of the tree of any tree in the garden? The woman said, no, we can eat of the fruit of the other trees in the garden. It's only about the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden that God says you shall not eat it or touch it lest you die. So let's just pause there. Let's go back to Eve. You're interested, you're curious, you're not there, you're bored, and you strike up a conversation with this thing that's in the tree. And right away, the first thing he says, did God really say that to you? Oh, it's a little surprising, isn't it? What, did he overhear what God said? The serpent? No, if I'm Eve, and did God really say that? Well, how do you know what God said? And then the serpent says, and the serpent said to the woman, you're not going to die. Whatever that means. But God knows as soon as you eat of the fruit of this tree, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like a divine being who knows good from bad. That's a lot to take in, Eve, but take it in. You will not die, says the serpent, but your eyes will be opened. What is the serpent says to your heart?
What does that mean?
What does that mean, my eyes will be opened, asked Eve? I'm looking at you, aren't I? I mean, it's not like I'm coming here with a white cane, staggering around in the garden. Yes, my eyes are open, I see. What goes through your mind, Eve, when you hear your eyes will be open?
I have a choice.
Wow. I apparently, this serpent is telling me that I have a choice. I could eat the fruit and choose to have my eyes open. It's like cataract surgery in the Garden of Eden. You thought you saw well, but the serpent said, but you haven't seen anything yet, honey. Not only will you see, but you will see, this is really tempting, the way that divine beings see. The gods. Now that's already peculiar. Divine beings, not the divine being, the divine beings. Well, that's a showstopper right there. I thought there was like only one God thing. Who are the other divine? I want to be a divine being. I mean, if there's more than one, I want to join that club. Divine beings. Eyes open.
So when the woman saw, she's already doing some seeing now. She's already seeing. When she saw, she sees. The woman saw that the tree was good for eating, a delight to the eyes, and that the tree was desirable as a source of wisdom. She took of its fruit and ate. Now, you are Eve, standing here at the tree. The serpent tells you, eyes are open, you be a divine being. See? Looks good. Source of wisdom. Desirable as a source of wisdom. She takes of the fruit and eats. So Eve, why, of all possible reasons, why you eat? And you do eat. You may not be here. You may hide from the fact that you're here. But the fact of the matter is you're here, and some part of you, stronger than other parts of you. Don't be embarrassed. The problem with this story is that now for the rest of time, women are getting blamed for doing this thing they shouldn't have done. My tradition, Jewish tradition, doesn't see it that way. But anyway, fact is, there it is in the Bible. Question to you, Eve, why do you eat? Why do you eat? You do. Why? Why do you eat?
Perceive it as good. Good to eat.
Hey, listen.
Get knowledge. It's all good, baby.
Hey, it sounds like it doesn't sound like there's any downside to this story that I can see. It's all good. Why do you eat?
She's experimenting to see if the serpent is telling the truth.
I actually have an experimental imagination. It's like, wait a second here. God said we shouldn't eat. The serpent says you can. God says you'll die. The serpent says you won't. Besides, the tree's right in the middle of the garden. If God didn't want us to eat of the tree, why put it right in the middle of the garden? I mean, seriously. There are a lot of places that the tree could go. But every time I go across it, there it is. Why do you eat? Why do you eat, Eve?
Can't resist.
I desire, the word desire. I feel the movement of desire stronger than my ability to say no. Why do you eat? This serpent, he has a way with him. I like him. And in fact, he's a lot more interesting than Adam. No, seriously. And this is fun. This is more fun than I've had in the garden in a long time. This is desire. I'll have more of it, thank you. Can I have seconds? Why not? Why do you eat?
Well, like I said, I've been bored silly, and it's already way more interesting than any other day here. And sounds like there might be something to learn. It'll be different at least.
It'll be different at least. Because what is the garden endlessly? I mean, I know every plant, every shrub, every tree, every critter. Isn't there something new? Is it always going to be? The garden starts to feel smaller and smaller the older I get. New frontier. Anything besides the garden?
There's a myth that it was perfect, so why would you be bored?
Well, you know something? That's a good question. Let me ask it to you, Eve. There's a story that it's perfect. Why? How is it that you could be bored here? Or how is it that you could want something different, Eve? What's that about?
God is not perfect. He can't make a perfect world.
I don't believe this story about perfection. I believe that I believe that maybe God put that tree there in order for me to eat it, in order for the world to go on with its free choices.
I'm curious.
And you know something, bottom line is, I'm just plain curious. I may desire, I may this, that. The fact of the matter is this isn't the first time I've gone to the tree. It's not the first time. And every time I go, I have a similar conversation with it. It's always there. It's always saying, no problem, babe. Come back tomorrow. I'm telling you, you're not going to die.
This looks so good.
And it is beautiful.
What does it taste like?
And boy, now the questions are coming. Yep. Cat's out of the bag now. What does it taste like? What'll it do for me? Why is it there? Who put it there? What does he have in mind? Can I trust God? Can I trust the serpent? Can I trust Adam? Cat's out of the bag. She eats. You eat. You eat. And the Bible says nothing about what the experience was like for you. Nothing. Wouldn't you like to know what the experience was like for Eve? Goodness gracious. But we do know one thing the Bible actually tells us. You, Eve, go and offer this fruit to Adam. No reason given. One of those places in the Bible where there's a question, but they don't give you the answer. Why do you give the fruit to your husband? Why?
I'm afraid to do this on my own.
I have done it on my own, and I'm scared of what might happen.
Or I loved it so much.
You've got to try this. Yeah, this is really great.
I'm tired of living with a guy who's only half as smart as I am. I'm now 3 times as smart because I've had the fruit. I've got to bring him up to speed.
I think from the laughter we mostly agree with you. Yeah, here's an email that says, listen, you're asleep, I'm wandering around, I'm looking at things, I'm wondering, asking questions, I got this experience with this serpent, I mean, for gosh sakes, you're already kind of boring, and now, my God, I'll die of boredom if you don't eat this. No, there is a sense of comedy here. There's something nobody ever said you can't laugh with the stories of the Bible. Anyway, any other reason why you take it to your husband? Don't want to be alone with this. Wow, it's really tricky. No, I mean, if I'm going to have a partner, at least he's got to be able somebody I can talk to. We're speaking different languages now. Why do you take it to your husband?
Well, it was like going from black and white to color. Taking this, and there's no way I can explain it to him.
This is one of those things that it just was so transformative.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, it's like the Wizard of Oz, where you begin in a black and white in Kansas, she gets to Oz and everything's in Technicolor. That's what it was like for me. How can I explain this to my husband? You have to have the experience.
You have to have it.
Okay. It's quite a moment. I'll tell you a story that I heard from one of my teachers. It's a little bit like what you said, as Eve. But this teacher said that Eve saw that having eaten the apple that she was alone. In a sense, the way you felt as Eve, I feel alone with this knowledge, and if Adam doesn't eat it, I'm going to be stuck in Eden forever alone.
And probably have an affair with the serpent.
And probably the serpent's the only game in town now. Adam, this is like your last chance. It's you or the serpent. Make your choice. Because I'm out of here. I'm different. Tough. Great. I love it. But this teacher of mine said, God said to Adam, it's not good for you to be alone. It's not good to be alone. And suddenly this Eve, having eaten, felt something that she hadn't felt before. She felt alone. Okay. Now, we read that she took the fruit and gave it to her husband, and he ate. Now, I want you to sort of slip out of Eve and slip into Adam for a minute. Now, I've heard some stories that say that Eve basically made an apple pie, so Adam didn't know what he was eating. I don't go with that story. I mean, you could have that. That's a tricky Eve. Tricks her husband into eating this thing. But I wonder about why, Adam, did you eat? I mean, serpent didn't talk to you. Here she is. You were with her this morning. She's come back, and she's carrying a piece of fruit. And you eat. We don't know whether there's a conversation there, an argument, like, oh, how could you do that? You did it! That's the fruit you have no. Or, thank you, you did it. We don't know. The Bible doesn't tell us why he ate. We have to guess. Well, Adam, why do you eat?
I do whatever she tells me to do.
And you will henceforward. All right.
But she ate it and she didn't die. And we were told if we ate it, we would die. And she said it was good.
I don't know what to believe from her. I mean, God spoke to me and said, eat it and die. But she ate it. And here she is. And she looks really good. Or not. Maybe she looks really upset.
Did she really eat it?
Pardon?
Did she really eat it? I missed that.
Did she really eat it? She really ate it. The question is,
Before she offered it to Adam?
before she offered it to Adam, you ate it?
I thought she would have checked.
Check with who? Adam? Oh, Adam, how do you feel about that? Shall I, shan't I?
I mean, they don't want to be together.
They were always, well, that could be it. She could bring the fruit. Adam? No, I don't want it. You sure? Well, I'm going to try it, honey.
Maybe since she didn't die, they thought they would have immortality.
So maybe Adam says, wow, you didn't die, so it sounds like we could have our cake and eat it too. We could have an apple and have the garden and live forever with our eyes open, being like divine beings. Wow. Thank you, Eve. There's no right answer. I mean, there are answers, but they're not right ones. Any one of them is possible. They all could be. And as I was saying to you, one of the things that one of the ways that the Jewish people study the Bible is to ask this kind of question and then see how many answers they can get, which sounds like crazy. You know, like, don't you just want the one right answer? And it's much easier to get, but you know, right there at the beginning, the question is, why do these things happen? And the Bible doesn't tell us a lot about that. Things just happen. Amazing things. And that's how it starts. And it starts with this mistrust, as you've indicated. Like, God said this, the serpent said that, I ate, I'm not dead. How does all of this add up?
God gave us curiosity.
Yeah, you know, not only is a tree in the middle of the garden, we were endowed with something that made us interested in the tree. If God didn't want us to eat, why didn't He just make us like robots? I don't eat, I don't think. We were made with all of these things. Are they supposed to just remain in the box? And this is why in the Jewish tradition, Eve is a hero. Eve dares to do what some Adams would say, I didn't dare do it, but I'm glad you did, honey. Yeah. So, you know, this is one little slice of this big book where so many things happen. And one of the things about reading is sometimes the slower you read, the more you see. So, you know, if you look how much time we've taken to look at just a couple of sentences. And, you know, we opened it up and there's all of these questions. And nobody, no expert, no one who's going to say, well, this is really happening. No. Something is left up to our imaginations. That's what we're using together to think about these questions. You can't, some of you may be drawing on your experience, but nonetheless, you can draw on your experience as a way of thinking about, well, maybe this is what Eve was going through. Maybe this is why Adam ate. So that's, and you can see that my way of doing this with you has a little bit of drama in it, right?
Yes.
I mean, we didn't make a stage, we didn't get up, but we all played Eve. We all were Adam for a moment. And we all were working with the same story. Just having different versions of it come up as we had different ways of seeing it. It's opening our eyes in that funny way. I mean, your eyes are more open to this story than they were 45 minutes ago. But what eyes are those that have been open to the story that weren't open 45 minutes ago? Well, it's the eyes of your curiosity, your desire to learn, your openness, your playfulness, your honesty, your imaginations. Putting yourself in the shoes of Eve and Adam. And I could even say to you, let me give you, so Adam eats. They hide. They hide. And the next day, God is in the garden. And he says, the words in the Bible, he says, where are you? Now this is amazing to me. You are God. That's the last role I'm going to have you play. You're God. You're in the garden. And you're looking for Adam and Eve. And you say, where are you? Come out wherever you are. What God, what is going through your mind in this moment? What's going through your mind when you say, where are you? I thought you knew everything. Aren't you supposed to be omniscient? Where are you? God's question to Adam and Eve. Where are you? How are you feeling, God? What are you feeling, God? I am God and I'm bewildered. are you feeling, God?
Curious.
I'm curious. Where are you? What's going on here? I feel a little bit like Eve, like, wait a second. I'm curious now.
I lost my favorite dolls to play with.
I lost my little puppy dolls. Oh, well, who am I going to play with? I feel abandoned. I feel alone.
I'm disappointed.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in them. Anything else you're disappointed in?
No, I'm disappointed in them because they know perfectly well not to do that.
They knew perfectly well not to do it, and I'm disappointed that they went ahead and did it anyway.
I'm a mom, and I could see in the back of my head. I have eyes in the back of my head, and the kids are too quiet. So I know they're doing something wrong.
When I say where are you, it's like have you done something naughty? It's too quiet around here. Yeah. I'm suspicious as God. Suspicious, disappointed, curious, lonely, etc. And that's an amazing thing for people to do at Woodland Pond on a Monday afternoon. To imagine how God might have felt in a moment. We need the Bible for that, and we need the story so we can find the place. Where are you? And that's, to me, if I think of myself then as Adam or as Eve, hearing this, I'm hiding, camouflaged. Where are you? How do I feel in that moment? Guilty. Like I knew I had done something wrong because I wouldn't be hiding otherwise. Now, not only do I know I'm guilty, but I also feel
Remorse.
I wish I hadn't done it. I immediately feel guilt and remorse. What else do I feel?
Who are you now?
Adam and Eve hearing this, who are you? Where are you? What do you feel as Adam? Huh? I'm terrified. It's like the boogeyman is coming. Oh, where are you? There's some fear that I have. My God, what's the consequences?
He's
And
gonna find us.
Adam, he's gonna find us.
Or she.
Pardon?
Or she.
Or she's gonna find her. We don't know any longer who that is. They may use he, but it's also could be the great mother. It could be God as the great mother saying, "Where are you, my dears? Let me see you. Let me comfort you. Let me be with you. Don't hide from me. Yes, there will be consequences. Yes, you're going to die. But you don't need to lose me. You don't need to hide from me. I can be with you to the end. Where are you? Don't get lost. Don't lose yourselves.
Better for worse.
For better and for worse. Yes, I'm tied to you, but you need to come out of hiding so that I can re-establish a relationship with you on new terms.
That big word, faith.
And God, it sounds like it's a word you're using. Have faith in me as God, which is different from seeing me and touching and believing. No, now you have to carry me in a different way. You have to trust that I can be with you even after this whole thing goes away. Even after you will leave Eden. You've lost it, but that doesn't mean you've lost me. This is deep, right? So that, I want to go back and say that this is Bible with a touch of drama. This is Bible, you could call it biblioimagining. It's not drama in the television sense, but it is drama in the sense that, you know, you see something in the movies, you identify. Oh, I was like that when I was a little girl. You know, I knew a man like that. Whatever. Well, it's the same kind of thing. We're identifying. We're letting ourselves identify with characters in a book. But it's the Bible. So our identifying with characters in the Bible creates a different kind of relationship that I could have with the Bible. Or I could imagine it in some sense and take it into my own heart and say, wow, think of all the stories that we could be doing together. And thinking about, well, what's just under the surface? What are the questions? What are the things that are going on inside? Because the Bible just tells us what happened. Just what happened, not why things happened or what it felt like to have these things happen.
Well, if they hadn't eaten the apple, end of story.
I would not be here. That's right. That's right. Yeah, no, exactly. In a way, the story has to begin somehow, and it begins with this, looks like a perfect world, but it has a little question mark in it. Huh?
Flaw.
Oh, well, yeah, a question. It's like a crack that's in the shape of a question mark. A perfect world, but it has a question mark.
I have a question.
Please.
Why did she believe the serpent over God?
Now,
That was the question.
who has the answer to that? Eve, why did you believe the serpent over God? You're Eve. Why did you believe the serpent over God?
My senses told me because it looked good. I don't know.
Because I have a body, I'm a sensual, sensitive, sensing being, and God, well, I don't know God. Maybe Adam knows God, but I've never seen God. He's never talked to me. This is real.
But it says he walked with them in the garden.
Not there.
No.
No. I know what you're referring to.
Is it the other?
Eve hasn't been
Genesis
created yet.
2?
No, Eve hasn't been created yet.
Oh.
I walk with Adam.
Okay.
Didn't walk with me.
Okay.
But I like your answer. It's my senses. I mean, this is, I can smell it, taste it, touch it. It's real. Everything else, all of this stuff is theology. This is real. That's your answer to your question.
The snake is her only Facebook friend.
The snake is my only Facebook friend. The
God
snake
doesn't talk to her.
Pardon? Yeah,
God
God doesn't talk to me.
Talk
And
to him.
he isn't really a Facebook friend. He's actually interested in me, asks me questions, engages with me. Adam has never asked me a question in his life. I don't think Adam has any questions. Which
Not
is
yet.
what? Not yet! Right. Adam, I'm going to bring you the question mark.
The question mark is like a snake.
The question mark, oh!
Interesting.
Question mark is like a serpent.
Doesn't it have to do with free will?
And yes, doesn't it have to do with free will? That could be Eve saying, you know, I appear to have a choice. It appears to me that I have a choice to eat or not to eat, to listen to the serpent or not listen to the serpent. Well, hell's bells, if you excuse the phrase. I have something. I have a certain power. I can make this choice, or I can make that choice. And Adam, you can make this choice, or you can make that choice. So in this moment, choosing is happening. Choices are made with consequences, unforeseen consequences, because our choices are never clear what their consequences can be. You know, we think we know, and sometimes we're partially right, but sooner or later we realize our choices led on to, my goodness. Like Susan and I, 2.5 months ago, we got a puppy. We chose. No, we chose to get it. It wasn't thrust upon us. We didn't wake up with somebody saying, get a puppy. No, we got a puppy. I can tell from your laughter that you have a lot of compassion in this room. But anyway, that was a choice. The consequences are still unfolding. And do we wake up sometimes and say, what were we thinking? Yes. Yes. So this is, again, thank you for what you just said about choice, because it's free to free will. We have this thing that we use, and it can get out, we can't predict. And here we are. It's like in the beginning there were two people in a garden with a choice. And the choices they made led to everything that followed. Do we all wish that we'd never been born? Very, very few people wish they'd never been born. Well, if you're glad you've been born, then let's hear it for Eve. All right. So, in the few minutes remaining, I want to say thank you. This was fun. It was fun. Nobody ever said that studying the Bible should never be fun. We know that it's not fun if we went to Bible school. But it doesn't mean it can't be fun. And I think it's serious fun though, right? I mean, it's not silly fun. We're asking deep questions. We're respecting it, but we're taking it seriously and playfully at the same time. And we have all of these different answers. I mean, what I said at the beginning, there's no right answer. Every one of these answers has a truth in it. And the truth is the sum of all of these different truths. Yes?
Have you done it with children? Because as a teacher, I can imagine it's a very effective tool.
I have done it. I've done this for how long? Almost 40 years. For almost 40 years. 40 years. Yeah, ever since I was 12. Anyway, so I've done it with Christians, I've done it with Jews, I've done it with children, I've done it with adults. I love doing it with adults. They always say, "Oh, I wish I'd had a Bible teacher like this." And adults say, "Oh, this would be great for children," and it is great for children. But it's really great for adults because adults have their whole, they have this look at what you were able to bring to the story as adults. No child is going to be able to. These aren't child questions. Yes.
Have you ever done the serpent's perspective? I mean, I'm what about the serpent? Does he get it to be the serpent? Oh, I'm going to be serpent. Okay.
Figured out how you work.
She's already a bibliodramatist.
So,
anything you can tell us, serpent, we'd be very glad to hear.
well, God and I have been in battle for quite a while.
God and I have been in battle for quite a while.
And I won this round.
And I won this round.
And I get a commission. Every time somebody eats that fruit, I get a percent.
I've got a good business going on here. It's called the Apple Stand. They dunk for apples, they candy the apples, they dress up apples all kinds of ways. I always get a profit.
And you notice as soon as they got in trouble, I was gone.
I slunk away. Thank you. Very rare to hear from this. And volunteered. Proud. Wait, what about me? You have me to thank. Never mind Eve. Never mind Adam. If it weren't for me, you guys wouldn't be sitting here. I am, question mark. Nobody understands where I came from. Why did God create me? God created me, and I secretly enacting what God knew I would enact in order to change the course of things and create a new kind of being? You'll never know the answer, honey. I'm the question mark hanging in the tree. And I have taught you to enjoy questions. Yeah, questions are fun. Questions are fun. Without questions, we'd be just like bored. You need a question in order to have some answerings.
But the serpent's already labeled as the smartest animal around.
You are the shrewdest animal around, the shrewdest creature.
Right.
And most beautiful.
Shrewd.
Shrewd is what, it's smooth. In Hebrew, the word means kind of smooth.
And God created the serpent to be.
You are the serpent. God created
God
me.
created me to be shrewd.
I am created. I didn't go to serpent school. I was created shrewd. The shrewdest. Me.
I must have some role in this arboretum.
I must have some role in this arboretum.
And lo and behold, here I've tried it with giraffes, I've tried it with elephants, didn't work.
None of them seem to be interested in apples.
I had a bite of the tree. I'm even smarter now than I was when I started.
I tell you,
And lo and behold, here's somebody that's borderline smart that I can have an effect on.
you got it? It's brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm just looking. I'm looking for company. I'm looking for somebody to have a relationship with.
Oops, I made a big mistake. I gave it to creatures with opposable thumbs, and now they're gonna chase me.
Well, yes, I was anxious to get back at God any way I could, but these folks, they could be dangerous. What have I unleashed? Yeah. Well, listen, I have enjoyed being with you.
And we've enjoyed having you very
Yes.
It's a new look at the Bible. We can think of this every time we read the Bible, putting a little drama into it.
It's sort of like reading between the lines. You know, it's looking for what's not there, not what is, and what is not there that wants to be seen. Motives, for example. Anyway, and please thank Ina for bringing such a good group. You're a very healthy group. You are. Your eyes are open, even when you're sleeping.
You really got into this, girl.
Yeah.
Good.
I wanted to sing but I just set up for.
You're gonna have
I'll be glad to.
Okay, I'm giving Lucy the linen because next Thursday.
Very good.
In my
That's the first one. This was the third.
Right.
No, I'm not sure. Anyway, Alex is coming.
This
Not Tyler,
no
Tyler is back yet.
But I'm just writing. I've done some
Lucy's gonna
teaching.
set it up.
But this
I'm gonna get a bottle of wine to write it. I have a
therapist.
Yeah, we need to candles and all that.
I've seen
We
you.
had
Yeah, bring rings.
Okay.
And he brings the bread.
The table, I think, looks in
Yeah,
there.
that's in there.
And as I say, I have the fair linen and I have the candlesticks. Yeah, so, but I'll have Lucy hand it over like a year ago. For the first 30 days. Because I know Cal is oh, yeah.
Lucy comes to happen.
Lucy also switch it.
We'll go back together.
Thank you.
This gentleman.
Yes, he's looking towards the next.
Yes.
We'll come to
Yes. Just on the other side. I have 2 cats and 1 dog.
I
Oh, yeah. All of them.
I did. Did you ever go to Evansfield? Me too. Yeah, I'm when the Chicago's on the West Coast. Yes. That's right.
But then when I went down to Milton, still the concierge, they're like, okay, I took care of it, I mailed it today to the post office. She said, write a check for each one. I said, no, I added them up and put them in one check. I looked at it, but it's so funny, they sent 7 envelopes, the same letter in each one. And they mind you, we were perfectly honest. I'm still thinking about this. And I said, half of made it sound like I was having a nervous breakdown.
I wanted to
Make the point.
make you appealing. Yeah. I wanted to say hi.
Susan, my wife.
Thank you.
You have to forgive us because our dog is home alone. Our puppy is home alone. Our dog.
Our puppy.
Puppy.
Our puppy. Who thinks the world
Have
belongs
you
to
seen
him.
me on, have you seen me out on television, and the gentleman, he's a very happy African American, but very kind. And he got a puppy, and the puppy's eating the cushions of his furniture.
Yes.
And he's sitting there looking at his iPhone on the bank where he lists how much money you have left to go with. And he sits there and he looks at that and he looks at the dog, and the dog suddenly wags his tail and looks really happy. He said, I think he knows to go to public school.
That's great. In fact, our dog has gone to puppy school, but right now he has a little bit of a stomach thing. He can't go to school. He's driving us nuts because he's lonely.
Yeah.
He's
bored.
He's bored.
Just
He's
like
poor
dog.
silly.
Yeah.
I wanted to say hi. I knew you had
Figure out
St.
what to
Andrews.
eat next.
That's right. He's
I'm
right,
friends with
right
her
now
always.
he's liking the carpet.
I mean,
Because we're trying to
I
figure
was
out how
your
to
age,
stop
but
him
I was trying
from
to
chewing on the corners of the carpet.
Oh,
yeah.
but I think that ad is so funny.
St.
Andrews.
The minister of St. Andrews.
Not today,
Was it
tomorrow.
Ralph or Dan?
The bank.
I'll be up there.
This is how much money you have left.
All right.
He's long dead.
Yes.
You're always out and about.
But
That's good though.
What's your name?
I'll be there
Captain
tomorrow.
Law.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, again.
Yes,
We're
absolutely.
going home to our puppy.
Okay.
I really
You better
enjoyed
go before he eats the carpet.
Well, he's in his
He's
cage
a
now.
mini golden doodle.
He's not,
He's
he's
a
not.
a poodle and a golden retriever.
A mixture of those two.
Well, he's over 35 pounds. There's nothing mini about it.
And he's 5 months old, 6 months old.
Wow, it's like big.
Yes,
He's
he's
about
like
this
that.
big now, and I don't know how big he's gonna get. He was supposed to be little, but he's not.
But he's big.
He's big.
Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.